Welcome to Washington in Focus. I am Jeremy Lott. Joining me today is the Center Square's Western Washington reporter, Spencer Pauly. Spencer, you broke some news this week, and it is encapsulated in the headline, 26 Seattle city employees made over $200,000 in overtime last year. How did they make that much?
Well, after receiving some information from the city of Seattle, just looking at some of the information, it was staggering to see how many people made over $200,000 in overtime alone. But basically, 17 out of the 26 work for Seattle City Light. They provide electric services to not just Seattle, but parts of King County, including Renton, unincorporated King County. And that just makes that department like 9th largest publicly owned electric utility service. They serve, I think, about 464,000. But basically, out of these City Light employees, they have to work overtime in cases of winter weather emergencies, just power outages that happen. So they have to come in whenever it's available because people need electric. And these are usually the people that work at the City Electric that make the most in overtime. They're well tenured. And so overtime rate varies. City Light told me that, some employees receive an overtime rate of, 1.5 times the regular pay rate, and some can receive up to 2 times. Overtime amount increases as, their annual income increases as well.
What was the top earner?
The top earner, surprisingly, was a firefighter. He made over $257,000 overtime alone, but the second highest was a line worker for Seattle City Light, and he made over $255,000. So when it comes to a couple thousand, it was pretty close in regards to this.
Do we know if these were extraordinary years for them, or this is just, how it goes?
It's just how it goes. You're seeing more and more people, just pay rates increasing over time. It used to be news. I remember seeing the Seattle Times cover in 2007 saying it was a big deal when City Light employees were making over $100,000 in overtime, but that's gone a long way since then.
No, I just, and obviously you said that these are, a lot of times these are tenured people who've been there a long time. So I'm going to speculate, but I think a lot of these people own their own houses in or around Seattle, so are not having to pay the current Seattle rental and housing rates. So they're really making out.
I would say so. $200,000 alone could really help you out in Seattle. I can tell you that.
Is this something that, they can afford? Or like if you're having to pay a ton of employees $200,000 or more a year, at some point, is that going to make rates higher? Is that going to make the city generally a less affordable place to live if just a lot of public or quasi-public servants are so highly compensated?
Seattle actually dedicates a lot of their budget to the City Light. They see electric services as essential. So that the majority of the budget goes towards City Light, and it's increased over the years more and more. And so I think you can speculate that it's going towards just overtime rate. People need electric services. And I think you're seeing more and more extreme weather incidences here in Seattle require more maintenance to, electricing. I've seen, since I've lived out here in Seattle, there's been many times where, our power's gone out, whether it's from a storm or not, but things happen. And
there's been like sabotage too, and so that's a new thing that they're having to deal with.
And that's happened. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Spencer Pauly, this is Jeremy Lott. Please subscribe and thanks for listening.